All right, let's start it.
All right, guys. Voyager crew, post Molokai.
Cheers, boys.
So-
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
It's been a long year.
Yeah, Jack.
We're here. I think in the beginning with Jack and even Mana, Eric even, it was such a distant dream or a visualization to do the race. But we're here, we're going to talk about it, debrief, talk about next year and stuff. But I think this is cool because everyone here has a different story leading up to the race, during the race, and maybe for next year. Like, for example, Jesse, I remember him, I was working and he wanted to get into foiling. I lent him my board and he went on a Keiko's run and I thought I had to go and rescue him because he was gone for 3 hours. Right?
Yeah, doing the paddle of honor, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. We all did that.
Yeah.
But then like
That's why I don't like these guys who are soft trying to go jet skis and do it
exactly
a different way now.
But you know, like, go ahead and explain. I mean, because everyone has, like I said, we all have a different motive, right? Like, I have a racing background, so I knew I kind of wanted to do a Molokai. Nick was a canoe paddler. These guys are kind of like, not rookies and greenhorns, but first time Molokais. They don't really know what competition is like. What was your reason or motive? I mean, you know, like, we grew up in Hawaii, so there is something special about doing Molokai.
Yeah, for me it was like I grew up, I wasn't paddling the channel, but I grew up fishing out there all the time with my dad. I've been in that channel so many hours of my life. I've seen it gnarly rough. I've been out there, beautiful crossings, everything in between. But you grow up and you're always like, yeah, all the hammer watermen, they're crossing the Molokai channel. So it was always like a goal. I knew that if I wanted to be, you know, the waterman I always wanted to be, you got to cross the channel.
Right.
Never thought I would ever do it on a foil.
Right.
Thought if anything it would be on an OC1 or a 6-man canoe, and luckily foiling came along, and I actually was foiling before you.
Right.
But you came to me and you're like, bruh, you're gonna love downwinding.
Right.
I was like, all right, tell me what I gotta do. Like, I'm in and been hooked ever since. So thank you for getting me into it.
Yeah, I mean,
wouldn't have done it.
Here we are.
Yeah.
You know, what was your channel like?
My channel was honestly like, I can't flat water start like all you guys. So I had a good game plan, I thought, which was just paddle until I was comfortable enough to get up in the bumps. And I executed that well. I paddled for about 30 minutes, got into bumps I really liked. And then I thought I was doing great. I went about 22 miles without falling. I thought I had a good line, was doing everything right, and my leg just locked up with about 8 miles left to go. Just started cramping super gnarly. So I had to come down on the foil, kind of rest, and after that, it was basically just a slugfest trying to get back to the wall. I would get back up on foil, use a bunch of energy doing that. I went for about 4 miles, leg locked again, had to rest, got back up, went for like 2 miles, like less and less each time, but I was like, I'm finishing this fucking race. Like, there's no way I'm not gonna fucking go to this channel. But the interesting part is, like, my energy felt good, my mind felt good, but if your body starts breaking down, like my body started cramping, there's also a point where there's nothing you can really do.
Right.
Like, if your body starts to cramp, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Right.
So next time for me, I just want to prepare better for that to happen.
I think it's cool because everyone has a different, like I said, motive for the race. Some of it was survival, some of it was racing.
Yeah.
Like Edo, we all thought was going to win. He probably, if he didn't have a shocker of a start in the beginning, who knows, you know?
Probably would have.
Did you get a shocker?
A little bit of a shocker, bro. Not right away, but I didn't make it to the win line.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was like most worried about the start because I thought I couldn't flat water start. I was kind of on a small wing.
So what was it like? Because, like, we were just watching YouTube videos and then me and Eric were watching, and it was like from February and like some of the highlight videos. And I was like, look at Edo, he wasn't even supping yet. Like, bro, what? And then you had your big giant access board. So what was your progression like in your journey like?
Well, I think.
How did you even sign up for the race? Like,
right.
I would have never thought. I mean, I always would watch you and say like, wow, this kid's super talented. You were more like the punk rock, just ripping kid, like just on those runs. But I had no idea he was like fast and competitive.
Yeah.
But then, you know, after going with him, I learned like, bro, this guy was like an Olympic training windsurfer. You know,
Yeah.
so he had that drive,
Yeah.
bro.
What?
You guys didn't even know that.
He
You know?
just showed
that,
up
so,
at
yeah.
he just showed up at Tongs and Old Man's one day, and I was like following him around. I was like, "Who is this kid? I've never
Oh, on the
seen
front?
him."
Well,
Yeah,
bro.
on the front.
Yeah, my earliest
Yeah.
memory of him was you hit me up on Instagram. You're like, hey, I'm from Hong Kong, but I'm moving to Hawaii.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like 4 years ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, what? Like, who is
Dang,
this
that's
guy?
a while ago.
Dude,
Yeah.
one of the videos that blew my mind is it was me, Kekai, and Moses. We're all in the tower, and we saw this video come up, and you were like dock starting in Molokai, and then he was like doing switch dance.
Oh,
Like, pumping
yeah.
circles.
I
I was just like,
remember
That was a
how's this
big-
kid?
that.
bro?"
Bruh,
Yeah,
if
that
you
was a
could
big
switch
window.
stance mid-channel,
Oh,
it'd be a
next
weapon,
year, bro.
bro.
Then
That
you
could
can
be a
rest your
weapon.
leg.
That's Kai's
Yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, if you get cramped on one leg, you just go switch stance.
I know, bro.
You're fine.
Oh, you should have seen the weird ass footing I had to have to try to avoid the cramp. Like, oh my gosh, I was doing anything I could. If I could have switched stance, I would have done it. In a
I had like
heartbeat.
a front-legged pumper. My back leg was stay still, and I would just
Yeah. Wait, didn't you cramp in the first
Yeah.
minute?
yeah.
In the
What
First minute.
Yeah, first minute of the race, I cramped and fell off my board.
That's
Was that
awesome.
just nerves?
I think I was on nervous intensity.
Yeah.
Like flat water start right off the bat, pumping, and like I'm with the pack, and then the thing just locks up and I fall. I look at my boat like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like this isn't happening.
I was right behind you, so I had the same. I got up right away, had a great start. I'm like, bro, it's happening. I'm behind Kailani and all these guys, and then my life flashes before me. I fall just out of pure exhaustion.
Yeah.
Did you
and then-
reach or you just?
No, I just
tired.
like I just had to bring it down because I was so tired. I was trying to like paddle pump,
Yeah.
and just my fitness wasn't there. But it was funny because after 15, 20 minutes of being down, we should probably talk about all the gnarly boat wake and how the wingers.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, because the wingers, you got to imagine the wingers when you see like the videos, they're just like wow, like going 20, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Now put your mind in the shoes of an escort boat driver. If you can't keep up with them, they're
Yeah.
gone, and you literally you failed as an escort boat driver if they get penalized or something.
Yeah.
So they're gunning after them, and as they're gunning after them, they've just created this crazy wake environment for all of us.
Yeah.
But
It's nuts.
it's crazy because like in normal Molokai races, right, Nick? Like usually there's like a nice 10, 15 minute window where it's mellow. And there's no influence of crazy wake like that. So not only do you have like these speedboat wakes trying to keep up with the wingers, but you got all the SUP escort boats going like medium speed and slow speed to catch our guys.
There was a wake the whole
So
way.
it was just
Yeah.
it was just wild,
Yeah.
But it's so funny because as soon as I got up, I was so katsu and fried. I had to take one of the gels. Like, I'm like,
You're
bro,
pumping and you took the gel.
dude,
As you're
I
like
got up.
regaining your
I
breath.
got up and I had to take a gel within
Oh my
10
God.
minutes of
It's
the
after
race.
you saw me
Wow.
passing him. Man.
Yeah. I was like, oh god, bro, I'm actually gonna like.
I didn't see you though. I saw your boat. I saw Kekai and then Moses, but I didn't think. I was like, who are they following? I didn't know they were following you. I never seen you till after you actually pop up.
Bro.
Man, I wish I got to experience that pump up and just go because I was in the bag and I tried one flat water attempt, dude. Gassed. I was
Did you
down
get up?
after that. My back leg, my back, lower back, just everything locking up. So it's just funny how you think you're ready for it and then you're just gassing out on the first attempt.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
how many times did Eric ask us the night before, the day before, what wing he's gonna
I think
use?
200 times.
200
I
So you made up his mind.
that too.
Yeah, you were too. I had
Andrew flew his drone out the morning of to make his final decision.
Yeah.
I forgot to check in with him
Yeah.
on that. I was like, even up to the last minute, I kept going back and forth, and biggest
Oh, we were
regret
there.
I have.
We
man.
remember.
I
Biggest
think
regret
you know
is
what?
not going
Across
big.
the board, pound for pound, you were probably on the smallest foil in the race because I think everyone either sized
bigger,
up
huh?
or they were small
Yeah.
for their wing size.
Man, I got humbled
What were you
so
on
quick, just so overconfident.
800.
800.
No,
800?
it's called the 800, but it's like a 730 or 750
Oh,
centimeters square wing. And the low end is like so bad, but then once you get it up, it's so efficient and
Yeah.
fast. And
That's what I was thinking.
by
too.
the time I finally got up, like I'm trying to get up the whole time, like 25 minutes paddling out. I keep trying, and my
That's a lot
back
of
leg
energy.
is like locking up, lower back's locking up,
Yeah.
and finally I get up and I'm like trying in the little bumps in the beginning, and there's still like leftover weight and everything, and then I come down. And I'm just like having a temper tantrum out there, beating myself up like, I'm so dumb. What was I thinking? I'm like, because my worst fear this whole time was not getting up with all the boys and pumping out, giving a big chee-hoo and just sending the run. And to see all you guys just going off in the distance, brah, that hurt.
I think we all had that moment, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's we
Yeah.
all kind of went down. Like I was
Yeah.
going, and like 10 feet in front of me, Kai went down, and then
Yeah.
like
Which
10,
is
10 feet to the left of him, Molokai went down, and then like Edo went down, and like we're all kind of looking around at each other, like what the hell?
Like,
Like,
That's sick. You guys are
like,
battling.
full
in that.
shocker. Like we all thought we were like up there with like the boys. Like this was like the top guys, and right away you get up and. Right away we just fail, and like all these other like maybe guys who like are newer to it and they're just taking their time with the big one going out, and I was like, what? Like
The one guy actually like, and it's cool because I think, you know, we've all learned something from this race, and I think year one it's survival and just learning what the field
For
is
sure.
like. Next
Yep.
year I think we'll all be ready and prepared.
For sure.
I bet we're gonna see Jesse out there flat water starting and just killing it.
Oh no! I have, bro. Okay. The flat water start. I don't think flat water start and foil race should ever be in the same sentence with
Right.
one another.
Mm.
I think
I
it
think
should.
it should.
This race should start in bumps and end in bumps.
I
It
don't
should
think
be
so.
F1 Formula racing. Like you're going as fast as you can.
I
We'll save the spicy
disagree.
side.
I disagree.
That's my philosophy. I just think it'd be cool to see guys going fast through the channel.
They have some races that have that.
That's a
Like,
Not the
Lolo,
Molokai
the
channel
winging,
though.
winging is like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And look at those wings. They're up and off.
They were gone.
Bro, the thing
Yeah.
is that I feel like that evened out the playing field because then people
Oh,
are
100%.
using a big wing
Right.
and they'll be slower throughout the channel, and the smaller wings gonna be much faster, but they're
Right.
not might not even make it to the win line.
And that's why you're staying up all night
Right.
trying to decide what
Yeah,
wing you
that's
want to
racing,
ride and
right?
having
Yeah.
nightmares.
It's
Yeah, I
also-
remember talking to Perth, right? He
Right.
ended up getting ninth, and he had a bum shoulder,
Yeah.
and he was saying, I'm just gonna go slow. I think he paddled. I think he said it took him 8 minutes to get to the wind line where he wanted to get up. He got up and he made it in one shot. And you think about it, that's way more efficient
Yeah.
than say like
Yeah.
flat watering, burning all the energy, getting up, going, and then coming down, and then being down for another 15-20 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know
So
what?
it's smart. You know?
I'm pretty sure I had a much faster race than him, and he beat me at the end still.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I've learned over racing, you know, for Molokai, Pailolo, and just maybe all the little races that we've had is, although that accounts for 85 to 95% of your race and the speed that you're going at, the start and the finish, which is, you know, very minimal, it's so influential in placing, right? So, I mean, we all learned that now, so we're all adjust, but that was a huge rabbit trail. But Edo, what made you want to sign up for Molokai?
Just the competitive side of it. I
Did you
just
hear about it?
I just saw on Instagram. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the peak of foiling, pretty much. That's the way you can compete in foiling, and yeah, I was just interested in
Well,
the
what were,
competition.
I remember Jack calling me. He's like we're naming off all the names, and he was like, "Bruh, Edo signed up. You don't even have a sub yet."
No, that was kind of my goal. That's the reason I got into subfoiling, and that's also the reason I kind of stopped. Like, I used to prone every single day, and then from that moment on, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep doing white Kai runs and learn how to subfoil.
Yeah, I remember him texting at like 5 p.m. Who wants to do HK?
Bro, I had a
Phil
short
does-
period of
Phil
time.
wants to
I'll go with
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's a college kid. He has all the time in the world. Yeah.
I kinda do.
I don't know, yeah. I don't know why he's texting that at 5, but
So now that you joined the sup ranks, do you think do you still like doing the Kaiko's run, or are you like pretty just
No,
so
of course I love the Kaiko's run, bro. The day after the race, I went to do the Kaiko's run. Yeah.
We did some good sunset runs the other
Yeah.
day too.
It's way more fun to
I don't think
turn.
I've done a Kaiko's run in like, I don't know, 4 months,
I
5
prefer it.
months.
You get in the
It's
flow,
so
bro.
chill.
You're just
It's
like
so relaxed.
floating.
So
It's
fun.
like
Yeah.
it really takes you back to where we all started with Voyager.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I took Edo on his first Kaiko's run.
I think you did, yeah. Or
Um,
maybe it wasn't you. I forget.
I mean, that's where downwind foiling started for us, right?
Well,
for
let's
sure.
talk about how it started. Was Simeon going out to Lighthouse and catching a wave and going 100 yards and just like tripping out. And
Yeah.
that was like before like me, Mana, Eric Sturman, Simeon, we were all like kind of.
Scotty, yeah.
I thought you and the Wizard were the first ones.
Well,
no?
Simeon was the first one to like teach us how, and then we all like as a group. Fun fact: we all as a group went to Kaiko's, and the first time we did it, everyone made it one shot to Kaimana. We just
That was
got
nuts. bro.
Really?
like,
Yeah.
we didn't really know how to do it, and like we all just went
That's
there.
impressive. That is not how my first time
And
went.
it's kind of like a secret story that I don't like
Yeah.
to share.
Yeah.
But like we all somehow got lucky and made it to
No, that is
Kaimana in
wild.
one shot, and we all stepped up on the beach like, oh my gosh, like
Wow.
that was crazy.
Well, no, I remember early on, I think we were foiling Jack and even Mana and all those guys were like excellent foilers already. But like everything was moving so fast. Like you were a madman if you could pump out and catch a wave. So like to see these guys, I think I saw Jack, like I think he caught a wave from rice bowls and like made it to sandbar.
Yeah.
And that was just like, what? You know? And that's like 150 yards, you know? And then yeah, I remember I'm a lifeguard, I work on the jet ski, and I'm going out on patrol and seeing these guys, and it was a little overwhelming for them because they were just surf and foil brain, and now they were trying to like navigate and learn this whole thing of downwind foiling. So it was cool. It's like we use each other, but yeah, like it is true, bro. Like it's kind of wild to think about it. I think that day, all of them, Scotty and Jack had just gotten the 170 high aspect wings.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I don't think
Scotty.
you've even used it before, right?
Just went out there
And then Adam had a unifoil high aspect, and they sent it and they made it, and I watched them make it the whole
Mana
time.
had what? You had signature
Albatross.
No, when we first did it, I had the Armstrong, like the
Oh,
HS 1550.
So and we were on like terrible
Yeah,
equipment,
gear.
but like
I'm still on
we
GoFoil.
made it. Yeah, you're doing the North Shore runs.
Yeah.
So like Eric was downing just not with our like crew in town. He was doing like North Shore runs with.
Yeah.
that was
Aaron.
like John and Nate guys.
Yeah, they were doing it, and Kaivi Drummond. I mean, not
Kaivi
Drummond.
Barry, yeah.
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, he was doing Turtle Bay to Sharks Cove
And Brian
on
Phillips.
Maliko 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true though, the high aspect definitely opened up a lot of.
The 170, man, for me, it was just like unlocked it and made it way easier.
Because we used to surf so much shitty wings and we got good at pumping and be
gosh,
efficient.
yeah.
Then when we switched to high aspect wings,
Got that
I
glide.
just
Yeah.
just made it a little bit easier, right?
Well, I thought with Molokai, the interesting thing for me was I saw Kaileni and those guys do it in 2019. But back then, I feel like it was, you had to be so far on the line of progression to even get that kind of equipment, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like this year was the first year where the common man could enter that race with the appropriate equipment and
Yeah.
stuff. So I thought that was cool. Just kind of going along with what you guys are talking about, the progression of equipment is like, you couldn't even get a foil in 2019. It was hard. It was hard to like.
I remember when we started,
Get that
like
stuff, yeah.
I didn't even know where to get a board. Bro.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
exactly.
You had the
Maybe we'll-
250 surf, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I had no idea. Like you didn't. I don't think anybody was making boards. And then we were like in the lifeguard tower, like, what if we could have wave storm and put track boxes? In? You know, like that's just like we had no idea
Yeah.
who you could go to or how to make a board.
Exactly.
You know, so like yeah, like you said, back in 2019 or you know, like watching those videos, I guess they were racing like 2016 or 17.
Were they doing the Molokai?
No, they
Yeah.
did.
I thought
I think
2019 was the
they
first one.
18,
18.
It was first foil.
Guys were on Maliko 200s during the Molokai.
Wow.
Like,
So they did it 2 years. 2018, 2019.
But
and
what's
then it stopped.
crazy is we're on such good gear now.
Yeah.
And tell me not, that was a tricky channel crossing, right?
Oh, it was
It
hard.
got funky
It was
out
hard
there.
for sure.
What's crazy
But
is
what-
that in the Kai's time at 2.5 hours in 2019 versus the time this year is 2:20 or 2:19, it's pretty close
It
together.
was,
Like,
yeah.
But didn't
Yeah.
we have like a
Kai had
prototype
I think
it was a
Moses?
high-
Kai had a
aspect
pretty good
Yeah.
foil, but like, still that was what like
And he pumped all the way in, right?
Yeah.
Or not all the way in, but halfway
Yeah.
in. So we know that saves a big chunk
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
There wasn't it like a prototype high aspect where like a Moses like
I think they were on
or
high aspect.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Jack
I
was
think
there.
Jeffrey was on that, and
Yeah,
then
Moses,
yeah.
But I wasn't sure if the channel this time was just. I mean, I never done it, so that was my first
Same.
time doing it.
It was
I didn't know if
pretty
it was
light
just
up.
hard or if that was like, you know.
It would have good sections, and then just like you were saying from
Yeah.
your previous experience, it got like a little light and funky and like looked like bumps were
That was so
everywhere.
hard
And
to
I was
read.
like, oh god,
Yeah.
am I gonna go down here and have to stop? And then you just power through it, and then okay, it's turning back on
this,
again.
This year I feel like it was a regular stance kind of run. It was so tough for a goofy.
Yeah, it was.
You know what's crazy
It
is-
definitely was.
For a few days, my neck was sore from looking.
Yeah.
Like it was legit. I was like, oh man, that was sore.
Bro, I
But-
try to make sure to keep looking the other way
Just
just
to-
to give the neck
yeah.
the break and like keep switching my hands, my paddle, bro, straight out because
It's tough.
No, we've all experienced
yeah,
that.
look at that cock neck.
All right. So Nick has done the channel a few times, 1 man and 6 man. What did you think of the conditions this year? Because I have
thought
my
it was
opinion.
a little bit light, but I think it's important to remember that the Kaiwi Channel is not a downwind race. It's a quarter the entire way.
Ocean, right?
And really, like, I grew up paddling in Kailua, and that's quartering all the time. So, like, quartering is something I kind of learned to do when I was younger. But that's where Hoi Kai doesn't really do its justice when you're trying to learn how to downwind.
Yeah, that's a downwind run.
Yeah, I remember coming up in paddling too. It was cool because wherever you trained or wherever you lived, that group or body of paddlers were good in those areas. So like for example, if there was like a Hawaii Kai run race, all us townies would smoke the
I
Kai
know.
guys.
Yeah, you would.
Be like, yeah, what's
I
up?
would be like, Hoi Kai's so weak. I don't like paddling.
Yeah, no, but they
Once
have
you
all
get to
had
Lighthouse,
trouble.
it's slow. Yeah.
Yeah, but like we would be like, this is amazing.
Right.
But then when we would have to go and race out in Kailua or even in the channel, because Kailua waters kind of mimic the channel.
Right.
All those guys from the east side with the rough quarter, just and hectic waters, they would just shine and do better, right? So it's cool because like maybe that's what it's like in foiling because like Eric, training and doing some downwind runs on the North Shore. You know, like when he first started coming doing Hawaii Kai runs,
Yeah, it was
it was trippy, you know?
I still trip on Hawaii Kai runs. I'm
Yeah.
like, why is it
What did
not?
you see?
Why can't I read it the same way? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's
the
different.
channel's so dynamic. I mean, there's deeper spots and shallower spots, and different places where the wind hits it, and there's backwash coming at you depending on which line you take, and I mean it's a headwind at the end, right? So it's such a dynamic place, and you really gotta kind of have all aspects of foiling dialed to be successful in it.
What's crazy is I thought it was actually a good channel. I mean, any bigger would have been hectic and gnarly, and you might have been more fatigued from holding on.
Yeah.
Any smaller would have been like
Pump Nation, yeah.
Pump Nation.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger the channel, the more backwash you get.
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal. You actually be riding up bumps like
Yes.
that. It's kind of hectic and gnarly.
Well, and that's what I was wondering is like, I would say it was like a 20, maybe a little bit over 20 mile an hour trade day.
Mhm.
If it was a smoking day, like,
Oof.
what are we?
Well, then
How's
that's
that
where the
looking?
small
I think
wings
a
are
little
gonna shine.
bit,
Yeah,
a
for
little
sure.
bit stronger would have been fun.
Also, the
little
reason
more.
why
Yeah.
like
But not much.
that wind line was so far out is because the wind was super east that day, and like what I've heard stories of and like what I've kind of like what I know about it, not much, but what I've heard is that when it's east, that wind comes off the land more, and then it basically dies and takes more time to reform. Where the northeast angle shoots around Elio Point and comes in, and that's why the wind line is closer when the wind is
Yeah,
that makes sense.
more north. So, and that was a super east day, like that's why like
It was cool because like, wasn't there a clip? It was Perth. I think they were up there the day before.
Yeah.
And they were downwinding past Molokai, and you could just see the bumps.
Yeah.
We were like,
Big
whoa,
bumps.
that was the day before.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like normally, yeah, like I said, wind direction that was great, and a little bit of more north, and that would have been
Yeah, it
even
was
way more
ideal.
quarter.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
and how much harder that would have been.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like I watched the one man solo this year,
Oh.
and what's crazy about it is from what everyone was saying is that like everyone it was super east in the beginning, so everyone was just pretty much rum lining or straight lining it, and then middle of the race it just started going super north and side shore. But what was tricky is all these guys were committed on the south line, so
You're just upwinding it.
Pretty much
Yeah.
the second half of the race, they were just pretty much side shore upwind race, and it was brutal and gnarly.
I would have not done the race.
That's
I
the
would've pulled
challenge.
out.
But that's a challenge.
It's not a straight downwind.
So what do you guys
area.
think of it ending at Kaimana potentially next year?
I think better angle.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I
like,
think it's a better angle. I think the race just needs to be a shore-to-shore race. I think
Yeah.
it's important that you get out to the wind line by yourself. You start right on the beach and you finish at the beach.
I
I
think
think
it's
that's
also, like,
important.
I mean, the way they claim the race is that's the World Championships of paddleboarding, which is like that's like the
It's gonna be
pipe.
struggling.
That's the pipe masters right there.
Yeah.
So like, they don't hold the pipe masters at Eukai, they hold it at pipe, right? So it's like that's why, in my opinion, I think shore to shore, how they have it is good because if you don't wanna do it, and if you can't do it, then go do Pailola race or go do a different race. But like,
but I want to do the channel,
Like-
Jack.
You just wanna play it.
if you can't handle it, then like.
I can handle it. It's just annoying to have to paddle out.
My heart agrees. I mean, my heart wants to have it just be like Jesse said, an F1 formula, just in the bump, finishing the bump. But it's the reality of racing too,
Yeah.
So like
it.
coming from a race background, I understand that.
Like the
Um,
paddleboard.
Well, okay.
paddleboarders
How's this
don't
for
like
you
to be
then?
there.
Okay, how's this for you then? You could not start it at Kulokoi. You could start it right on the shore at Elio Point, and you're into bumps way faster. And you're a better angle now too to go down to either China Walls or Kaimana, and you're still going Molokai to Oahu.
I mean, the flat water start is what makes it like. That's why
It's part of
it's funny,
foiling.
like, we were stressing about which wing, and that's why like guys who were 10 minutes behind me in the channel ended up smoking me by 20 minutes,
I mean,
and then that's why like guys.
You
who-
like losing, yeah?
Formula One drivers, they gotta assess the conditions. Like if it looks slightly cloudy, they're gonna put the medium or the hard tires on or the wets.
It makes
it's
it
part
fun.
of
Yeah.
it's part of racing.
But then you could argue that the finish is part of racing because you could pump the whole way if you
Right.
catch waves. And,
You know what's funny is
That's luck too.
It is.
Yeah, that's a lot of luck. That's a
But
lot of luck.
You gotta have
Yeah.
a little luck in racing.
Yeah.
I feel like the paddlers and the guys that really are suffering, they're just scoffing at us because we
Yeah.
have it so
Yeah, we
easy.
can't
We can't
complain.
complain.
Well,
Dude,
It's
I think
it's
it's
easy.
easy,
It's easy, but it's not easy.
well,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That's what I
Yeah.
was just gonna say too. Is you
Yeah.
know how much skill and time you have to put in to be able to even cross
To do
the
it.
channel
You're
on a
right.
foil. You know.
That's a good
Hey,
point.
hey, but-
Hey, I
Good
only
Don't-
put in like
don't-
3 months. But
but he's been foiling for years.
You
Yeah,
can't, you
you know?
can't,
Yeah, we
you
put
can't
it
diss the paddlers.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying. I
They-
thought about the
That's
same
a
thing.
good point.
They
I
put
thought
in
about the
time.
same thing though. Is like, okay, as a paddleboarder, it is so much more difficult than what we're doing.
Yes.
But if you gave a paddleboarder a foil, it'd be like, I can't even stand on
Yeah,
this
it's
thing.
gonna
you know?
take
Like,
years to build
it's just
it.
a different form of difficulty.
But what do you
and how
think
get
like
there.
their heart rates are like on a paddleboard for like
They're able to
what are
s-
they,
they're
4
able
or
to
5
set-
hours?
they're able to settle in. So what they do is they train to race at maybe 75 to 80% of their max heart rate. So like I feel like with us it fluctuates so much because there's
yeah.
moments when you cruise, there's moments when you
Yeah.
gotta stay on it, and there's moments like it's crazy. Even just seeing or thinking, your heart rate spikes.
So
up.
my heart rate average was like 170, 180 the whole way.
Average.
Whoa. Wow.
What? Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, you're
I think
non-stop
I was
going.
pushed I was dying the whole time.
I
But it's
think-
a shorter period of time compared to those
to
guys.
be
so
competitive, I think you have to push it like that.
it's like a cycling race. The more you pump and the more up and overs you do, the faster you're gonna go.
You
Yeah.
see,
You
that's
know
the
what?
beauty of foiling though. Like we had that discussion with Tahitians. Like I think consistency is key too. Like if you don't fall, you have good chances of placing good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Any of the
Sure.
races.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
Especially over
getting back
30
up, you're
miles,
fatigued.
Because you go so fast, then like it caught up on you. Which I wasn't even trying to.
Yeah.
I was just fucking doing my own race, and then I ended up passing you. But then, of course, after that, you passed me because you're way faster. But then,
How about for
Yeah, there's something to be said about not falling.
yeah,
for
if,
sure.
If you
Then
get
when you
100
get-
without falling,
Yeah.
you can definitely place.
I think
good.
I think it's cool because like everyone has a different motive here, right? Like I think this year it's all cool for us to do the channel because whether we had a great start or a junk start or we finished in 4 hours, 5 hours or whatever, if you made it from island to island, that's a huge accomplishment and achievement.
For sure.
You know what I mean? There's not going to be like where 1% in the world of foilers that have done that, maybe even more, or just even, and now on the spectrum of all like water sports and the amount of people, like it's still a huge accomplishment, you know?
Sure.
But like, you know, with racing, it's like, you know, we can get all caught up and, you know, who's going fast and this and that, but it's cool. Like we've got this out of our way, under our belt, that we've all survived. And it's cool because I think next year, you know, as gear improves, everyone's skills will improve.
Competition's
Training's
gonna be
gonna
high.
improve. Competition.
Yeah.
I
it's
bet
gonna
you
be-
there'll be like 100 foilers next year.
Yeah, probably.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I predicted that there's not going to be a Molokai to log foiled. There's going to be a whole separate race in a number of years. And it's like there's the 1-man solo, the 6-man. Like there's going to be a foiled race
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's so cool.
But they doing that anyways?
with whatever sponsor.
Yeah, I think they were talking
just
about it.
one.
They're gonna
it
do
was
it.
one
They're gonna
day.
do a Saturday and a Sunday. So the pro owners and the suppers will go on Saturday, and then we'll go on Sunday. It sounds like it's not confirmed, but
That's the best way to do it because you don't have 200
Yeah.
boats
I think so,
going
too.
across the channel.
Yeah.
You know what's cool? I feel like we all entered these races just to grow this sport, and we're actually seeing it happen.
Okay.
You know, like I
so when
don't-
you so tell everybody, like after Molokai, you were back on North Shore, and then you ran, or was it pre Molokai or after Molokai, and you ran into John and Eric and those guys, and they were fired up.
Oh yeah. I was just did a practice run. I was trying to dial in my gear, and John was biking by, and he was checking out the gear and was interested in getting in the sup, and he told me him and Nate ordered 2 stand-up boards
From who?
from KT,
Oh, nice.
and they both got
Guys better watch out.
customs.
Yeah.
And that's why I said
Yeah.
not just that, but the next level of Molokai to Oahu is going to be so much higher, and you got guys
For sure.
like them joining
Yeah.
because they're
Those
weapons.
guys for sure.
But
Yeah.
that's what we want, you know. Like
Yeah.
to me, it's like as fun as it is. Like we've been doing Kaikos and Holy Cameras together and this and that. Like it's always cool to be like,
Yeah.
just float with John or like,
Yeah.
you know, like I just, you know, like it's just cool to see all these, you know, high level people like John, best surfer in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of not validates like what we've been doing, but it just confirms like we're doing the sickest water sport.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty cool.
hands down.
John's been doing it like since day one. I remember like when I was like still learning, I would see him at Kahana,
Yeah.
just like on like the old MFC ones he was ripping, and I was like, oh, like these guys are doing it too. Like it's
Yeah.
to 2018, like we all suck and we're still trying to like figure it out together.
Yeah, when you call me every day to freaking drive a car.
Yeah, we would go a lot. Yeah.
How old were you, Jack?
14, I think.
Yeah, I started in 8th grade, and it was.
You entered the game at a good time, man.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I
a
kinda
14-year-old kid to come and
got
start learning
lucky.
at that point in time with the way the progression worked, you hit it at a
You know what's like the sickest part for me though is like seeing other 14-year-olds now doing it. Like there's like a solid
Oh,
group,
there's
like
so much more.
a bunch of kids at Tongs who are all like in middle school. They're doing it. And like when I started, it was just me.
What's wild, like
It was-
back when you started, you were like the standout because you were like a kid, and everyone was like, "Whoa, like, check out that kid foiling."
It wasn't fun though because I didn't have any friends to go. It was just me.
No, it was Hoku too.
So yeah,
Oh, Hoku, that's right.
Hoku and like Malae, and then Emil
Right,
slowly
yeah.
started. But I had to like convince my friends, like, come on, like
Yeah.
get one, like just like get.
Where
one.
now
now
everyone's-
if you go to Tongs, or
Not
something,
every single kid is like asking their parents for a foil. Now there's like kids who are like in middle school stomping out these downlanders. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
it was pretty wild, yeah.
Did anyone have any falls at Hanama Bay?
I did. I
Not this time.
I was trying to bust out my goo packet and I was holding my.
Oh,
I did
no.
it twice and this was the third goo I had to like bust it out of my pocket, held my paddle under my arm, and I'm like trying to look at it, rip the thing, take the thing, and then
You
I
breached.
just my foil board hit the bump in front. And I
Oh.
went,
Damn.
But then like it was like a 10-second turnaround.
Oh, you got right back up.
But yeah, I was still like, oh man, like
Stressing.
I
But
think
I
it's
ha-
better with the fall over there than falling where I was. That's freaking sick.
Where-
Where'd you
where'd
fall?
fall?
you took a
Or
real
south.
south line, bro.
Because
Oh, you
yeah,
had to
because
go.
I was actually surprised by the backwash like starting 10 miles out
Yeah.
of the thing,
Yeah.
and I got just complacent. I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna ride the bumps. So I was like going more south, more and more south, and I got the shitty zone one right. Like I could see, like the cocoa head, not the crater, but the other part, the one where
Manama Bay.
No.
Yeah.
Manama Bay.
the other side, the backside of China.
Lookout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was south. I was like, man,
And so you fell right there.
I spent an hour
Yeah.
fighting the
No.
thing. Like I could have made it in 3 hours.
Yeah.
or-
I fell there too, and it was brutal.
But
And-
I was south though.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
bro, I
I was a
remember-
pretty good line.
Because I was doing my whole battling my cramp mission, and I remember seeing your escort boat with the Tahitian flag.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was looking
you're
at your
Tahitian?
boat, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if he's gonna be able to get in from there. Like, I hope he doesn't have to like get a do not finish, because you're like, you were just in that range where it's like, with the current and the wind, it could be blowing you, so that getting back in could be super challenging.
That's why, like, I
Yeah.
was sitting there and I was like, fuck it, like,
Yeah.
having tantrums, like,
Yeah.
Eric, and then I could see diamond, and I was like, fuck, I wish I could just go diamond, so I could take
Yeah.
the south line to
Yeah.
pop up and come back in, but I was seeing, like, the end of China's on that side. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
So I ended up, like, I kept trying to pop up, keep wasting my energy. Like, I'll pop up, then I'll start quarrying, and then since I have to go right so much, I'll come left a little bit, and some bumps just hit my board, and I would just dive down. And I would try to stand up again, and the current was going, like, it's weird. The bumps were this way, the bumps were going this way. A little bit of backwash, which was, I don't think it was too bad, but then the worst was the current underwater.
You
It
could
was
feel it,
sucking, it was going north.
Yeah.
So I would stand on this and would grab my foot and would just bank it. So what I ended up doing, I was like, shit, I can't be doing the same thing and get tired. So I ended up swimming towards the cliff. I got close to the cliff. It was a little less hectic. I popped up and I was like, this is the one. I'm just going all the way in.
So you swam with, where was your paddle when you're swimming?
On your chest.
On my chest.
And then
On his
you're
paddling
prone
board.
paddle.
oh, prone paddling your
Yeah,
board.
yeah, no way I can.
Oh, okay,
I could
okay.
do it on my
I thought
own.
you meant like you're swimming. I was like, what?
No, no,
Yeah, like I aimed towards. I took a
Yeah,
90
yeah.
degree towards the cliff.
Yeah.
Paddle for like 5-10. It actually was faster than I expected, like 5-10 minutes. And actually, I think he saved me time. And
Yeah.
then I popped up and I was like, okay, this is the one. I'm not falling anymore. And it was actually okay because we practiced it the day before.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right with that.
I think that's what's cool is, or, you know, like for people who've done the channel like Nick and I, that's why you choose a northerly line, because you know what the consequence is like at the end, and you want to avoid consequence. And I remember early on, and maybe I did like a downwind dialogue with Dave, or I remember just, you know, Andrew, when he was going to school out here. You know, I gotta give hats off to that kid, because he was like an underground dark horse from a long time ago. We all knew that, but you know, once he started asking me questions, Nick questions, where you could kind of see he was really dedicated and focused on to having a good result. And you know, I never really saw that from Andrew early on until we started like getting close and racing, and it was like, well, okay, yeah. But I remember like, he asked, like, you know, we were talking about going north and, you know, this and that. And it's like, why wouldn't you just straight line it? And he's like, why you add on like 11 miles or something? After he did some calculation, I'm like, well, I mean, you got to do it like because there's consequence, you know? So when Jack and we did a practice run, it was crazy because I remember going up so north that we could see like the Waimanalo side of Makapu.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I wouldn't have done anything else because coming in was so comfortable, and I would rather correct by surfing than correct trying to pop up or swim to the wall.
But that was also a more realistic trade wind day than the day we had. It was like proper northeast, east, in between east northeast and northeast.
Right.
And
Do you feel like that was harder that day or easier
Um,
with that more north in the wind?
It was so similar.
it was pretty similar. I mean, in my
The bumps
opinion,
are bigger.
the bumps are much bigger that day, and like
Did that make it a little easier?
I
then,
thought
or-
it was way easier. Like I love the bigger bumps because it gives me time to rest. where
Yeah.
The smaller ones, I feel like I'm just
Search.
like heart attack, just trying to make it
Yeah.
through. So I feel like when it's really big, I'm pretty comfortable just standing there and like trusting the foil to take the next one. But that day, like we got off Molokai, maybe like right where everyone was falling was where we started because we couldn't bring the boat all the way in.
Yeah.
And we got up and the bumps were like literally going this way and we're trying to go that way.
Yeah.
Like pretty much X.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy, this is nuts. And then the day of the race, it was like, I thought that was like as downwind as it could get.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the conditions were good. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know.
A lot of people ended up north.
I mean, guys
a
are
brutal
like,
channel.
I think guys are like tripping, but like that was pretty like easy for how the channel gets like direction wise, and like it could have been like the one man solo day, like a northeast day,
Oh, count me out of that.
and like bro, you can't go like
Yeah.
you're coming.
Well, how would you even do that on a foil? If it's a northeast wind day, I feel like you couldn't do it
You
on a
would just-
foil.
you
You'd
just
have to
have to
quarter
you would
super
quarter,
hard
yeah.
and a big
On a
wind.
true north wind day,
Well,
though,
on a
it's
north-
like
Well, you said
No, no,
northeast.
no.
northeast.
well, there's a huge difference between north and northeast though. Like
Yeah.
I think if it's north, and you don't really get north wind in the summertime anyway, so that's like pretty reliable to have this race in July, which is almost like guaranteed trades. Or,
You see, that's the worst part for me. I knew I had to go north. I still ended up south.
I think I ended up too far north.
Me too. I mean, I came up to you mid-channel, and I was like, "Yo, Nick, we're super north."
I know you started messing with my head. Oh no, like where everybody's south of me. I don't know who I'm by. Like
Kapule had the craziest
Yeah,
line.
his was
You guys
nuts.
see
Oh,
all
yeah,
the
he went
GPS
way
dots right here, and he's like up here.
He said his boat captain was telling him, go more north.
Literally.
Right, his boat captain was a 17-year-old kid.
Well, you know, like I think it was good to go north, but like halfway, and this is just comes from experience. You have to look up and see where you're aiming, and you'd be like, "Wow, the current's sucky. It's way too easy. How high I am north, the current must be yanking up," and that's what was happening.
The current
there's-
was strong,
Yeah.
strong coming from the south. That
Yeah, but there's also days when you feel like you're surfing and quartering up, and you look up and you're not making any progress. And then that's when you gotta be worried because you're like, bro, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to Cocoa Head, you know. So like in that sense, it was easy. But from the practice run and even in the race, it's cool because the closer you get to Oahu, you know, like probably halfway, like where we were, I was like, dude, we gotta start surfing down because we're gonna come in at like Makapu Beach Park, you know, like it was wild.
And Mateo had a crazy. Mateo from Kauai, he came in at Sandy's like. He was out there at Sandy's thinking, he's like, oh, I just won the race. And he's like, wait, why is the beach all sand? He's like, oh, wait, this isn't it. And he, like,
My gosh.
he came in and he was tripping. Like, he had a really fast race, but he was aiming straight for Sandy Beach. And he said, like, he could see the sand on the beach and everything. And he's like, wait, like, this isn't where I'm supposed to. And he's never done it before because he's from Kauai, right?
And his escort boat didn't tell him?
Well, his
It's hard because
his escort boat was 45 minutes behind him.
Oh, no
He had
way.
a 18-foot whaler, and I guess
my
the
God,
guy
whaler.
escorting him didn't know that there was going to be
I saw
6
his
people
boat.
or five or six people on the boat with all their luggage and camera gear. So they were like sinking. Like I talked to Mateo's photographer after, and like the boat was trying to go so fast to catch up with him. They were going over the swell, and they would go over the swell and land in the one in front. The boat would fill with water, and they would have to like wait.
Sorry.
Like,
Run to the back.
like the bag started floating. It was that bad.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
and so it happened like 2 or 3 times. Where like they're like, holy shit, we're like sinking, and so he did the whole race without an escort boat pretty much.
Yeah.
Just trying to
crazy.
Sketchy.
It's better to end up in Sandy's or where I was because I remember
Yeah,
looking
for
up.
sure.
I was like, shit, that's the run we do all the time, the
Yeah.
ED. You know, like, and I can't get back up because then you just go down, you're against the current, it's actually helping you getting lift.
Yeah.
You can ride down and go around. Whereas I had to go this way more and more south to try to come in.
Like I
It's
said,
just
it's, I would much rather play it safe
yeah.
and be able to correct by surfing
Yeah.
than correct by trying to paddle up.
100%.
So we're just
Sorry,
taking the
I didn't
Tahiti
listen
line,
to
bro. You just wanted to go
I
back
didn't
to
know what I was
Tahiti.
doing, bro. I had just a straight shot.
I just did
I-
drumline the whole way.
I just was
trusted
like
it.
quartering right and like, oh, I'm aiming for the back of
Well, that's
Cocoa
where
Head,
I
like
wish
you're
I would have
saying.
gone
Yeah,
a little
and
bit
that was
further
advice from my
south
Yeah.
because I think that's where the race was happening. I think
I
that's important in racing is you
Yeah.
want to be next to
You
people
s-
and pushing.
The mantra is
Pushing
always
each other.
follow the leaders. Always follow the
I
leaders.
was looking at a couple like I was looking at the prone paddleboard and boats in front of me like passing. I was like, oh, like I guess like I'm on a good line because these guys are, and then the foilers in front and the wing foilers like. I was in the back, like I had guys to look at, and
Yeah.
so I
Yeah,
just-
if you look at like James, Oscar, Andrew, and all those guys, there was a super straight line, right? And so I think
Eric too.
Eric. That's the only one thing that offsets. If you have a perfect race, no mistakes, and you can quarter well, you could make it, and it would be a fast line, but
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy because next year we're gonna have a whole wider spectrum on angle of where we can aim to.
We have 100 foilers bouncing across the channel
Yeah.
too.
Sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be wide, really wide, and there's all kind of different lines.
So, what size wing was everyone on? What were you
Yeah,
on?
like the
I was
gear.
on
That's what I
Oh, we're not allowed to say that.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
You're in a
You
what?
went that small?
You're on a what?
760.
Well, what was that? The area of the wing, or was
Yeah,
that
the area.
The span?
area.
And you flat watered that right from the start?
Yeah, that's why I had a huge board.
Tell us about your
Oh
board
my
shuffle.
gosh.
My board shuffle. Oh.
Because when you first started, you've had
Yeah.
a couple art.
Yeah.
How many boards did you have?
I think the
That's
biggest
so many,
unlock
bro.
was just going for a big board. Like when I got Rich's board, 8.6 by 19, 125 liters. Like, bro, I was comparing that to the 710 production Cuda, which is like what 10.
102 maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
102, 105.
100 liters. This thing's 125 liters, and it was so much easier to pop up. So I just went with that.
That's
You know
like
what's
the
crazy?
Cuda plus my short board.
Imagine
That's
if
what unlocked the small wing.
I mean, now we know and we have a whole year ahead. But what you should do is you should get a board that's made for you. Because that board is made for a 220 pound
Yeah,
Rich.
Yeah.
I
I would have loved to see you on a Kalama, one of his new designs that kind of
Right.
what me and Sim are riding. I feel
Yeah.
like those would be
That'd
some
definitely be a
weapons
lot
for you.
better.
Yeah.
But at the time, you don't find boards like that. Right?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
3 weeks before the race, and I was like, wait, if
You're
I can
asking
flat
everyone.
water, if I can flat water that small wing with a big board, then I need to get a big board. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm stuck on a big wing, and I'm gonna be slow.
Bro, you know what's classic is that I rode a 6.6, right? I'm pretty sure I had the smallest board out of all the guys, but that's just because I had that. That's what I had.
6.6.
You
Yeah,
use
props to this guy for
Yeah.
flat watering
But-
a 6.6
That's
on
impressive.
his little 800
But
wing.
right,
bro.
and you use what you got. You can't you gotta make it work. But the funny part that I laughed about after was a month ago, me and my shaper had a talk about making an 8-foot foil board, and he had a prone paddle board. He scanned it, and I was like, just size it down to 8 feet and put boxes on it, just how it is, like a proper paddle board. and then we're doing it, and we're like, you know what, this is gonna cost a lot of money, for carbon and all the resources. So let's scrap the idea. But if he made that thing,
you would have been on it.
Oh, you
like-
would have been.
I had that idea, and I kind of wish I just ate the money and did it, because I would have been golden. But whatever, it's in the past.
I've seen Kai doing that a long time ago. I don't know why he never kept going. He put boxes on a actual stand.
A big stand-up board. Yeah.
He was on a pretty big board for that race, I think. I
Well,
think he was
yeah.
on an 8.0, yeah.
He was on a
Yeah.
8.4 or something.
Yeah, he was on a solid board.
It's funny because when he
Probably
showed
a
up
while
for
Um,
when he showed up for the Maliko race or the Maui to Molokai, he was on a 7.2.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that he was even
Different conditions, different equipment.
he was even improving his boards weeks out.
Well, he made that guy's the king of capping, but he made a joke because I went to Maui a few weeks ago before the race, and he made a joke. He's like, bro, you don't even know what's coming. This is the first rendition, his 7.0.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, and then I seen videos of him still racing Maliko a week before the race. I was like, you're not gonna get a new board. And sure enough, he pulls up with his brand new blades. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He did a lot of testing days
Right.
before.
I was so I got a new board that I switched up 2 days 2 days before the competition because I couldn't. I was having such a hard time flat watering my small wing because the low end is just so bad on it, man. And so I
Didn't
got
you iron that out with
So I got
shim
the-
blading, yeah.
yeah. So I fixed that part where it
Mass
made it
placement.
easier. It had a negative degree shim built into the mast, which I didn't know about. And then I got the 9.0 by 16 because I was like, all right, this is gonna be a cheat code for getting up, which it was. I did a couple flat water tests and I popped up no problem. And then it came time to race day, and I don't know, man. I just gassed out so quick, and
too much nerves.
and nerves, and there's it wasn't completely flat, right, with bumps to our back. It was
Kinda
kind of
flat.
like bumps hitting us from the side a little bit, right?
Did you also like sleep the night before and like were you in good shape at
I
the
didn't
race?
sleep the night before. Me and him
Maybe
never
that-
slept.
maybe
I went
that's
on,
why.
I went on a walk at like 1 in the morning.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that? Like,
Yeah, how's the
Yeah.
neighbors?
Dude, he was
I was
freaking out.
tripping out.
Bro. And he found his melatonin in the morning.
Oh,
just on
that
the
was so
counter.
heartbreaking. Bruh, I tried to go to bed at 9:30. I'm like, gonna get it good. Jesse hooked me up with like some Protec, like rest. I'm like, yeah. I was feeling drowsy, like, yes. Because pretty much leading up to and after Molokai, like my sleep was just shot. And so I was pretty like waking up at 3 in the morning. And it was weird because I was fighting a cold and then I couldn't recover. And, you know, when you get older, like you need sleep, you know, to recover. And recovery is huge. But anyways, little bit before Molokai, was sleeping good. I was feeling good, and then I was like maybe too overconfident. Like, I'm gonna have a good night's sleep, bro. Like I was feeling drowsy. Like yes, it's time. It's 9:00. I'm gonna have a great night of sleep, and I go and sleep in this room, and I don't know. There's like the neighbors were like maybe just raging or something, but there was this weird, bro. Like I hate the sound. It was like this weird electrical current that was like
vibration,
like frequency that was just like massaging my brain. Cause I was like tired, but I was just getting like zzz, like zapped. I was like, bro, are you kidding me? So it was 9:45, 10:45. I'm like up in the house trying to find a new
start
spot.
stressing out.
I'm like, I still got time. You know, like I still got time. I'm trying to sleep on the couch, and it's like, you know, when you're up past the time that you're tired, and then once you pass that point, you're just up.
You're overtired. You're so tired that you're not tired anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
9:45, 10:45, 11:45. I go outside to try and sleep on the lanai. I would start dozing off, and the mosquito would go. I'm like, bro, my whole body, and you got a buzzer right by my ear.
Yeah.
12:45, 1:45. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
bro. I took a little walk around the property. I was like walking on the street. I was just like, bro, I'm up. Like I'm just, you know, whatever. I probably had like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, but it's weird. I felt good, but
Mine
A
was
lot of
the same.
adrenaline.
But for me, I was overthinking. In my head, I kept replaying over and over
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Oh,
800,
small wing.
1100,
Oh,
800.
big
Yeah.
wing. Oh, small wing. Big wing. This could happen. That could happen. And I'm like, just stop. And it
Hey, no, but that's the
happened.
biggest thing because if
Oh
you don't
my
sleep the night
gosh.
before, it's like all the stuff you train for and all
Yeah.
the flat water, you're not gonna be able to do it. You know?
Yeah.
There's
So
a
it's like
And I think that's the
I
thing
told
about the
Dave-
race
No.
that people don't really think about when you sign up, but it's like, okay, we had a couple months of hard training where we were all like sending
We're all of
runs,
us
like,
in
we
the
gotta
gorge.
we gotta send long runs, we gotta train, but then there's this mental component of it where it's
exactly,
like,
and it's huge.
oh man, I never did this before. Can I do this? What's it gonna be like? All my friends and family know I'm gonna race the Molokai. Like, what if I don't do it? Like, what if I fail and I'm a freaking scrub? You know, like I couldn't do it. So it was just interesting, that whole lead up and like trying to overcome all those mental struggles.
Yeah.
Because then people are like, oh, you did it. I'm like, yeah, I'm so happy. I don't need to think about it anymore. Like,
Right.
It's over and I can not worry
best
about
sleep
it.
of my life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember scrambling in the middle of the night, like at 10 o'clock, going through my bag, turning it upside down, like, this is melatonin.
On
Where
the
did you find
counter.
I was ready to take like 5.
I wanted some too,
Dude,
man.
and then I
Oh.
wake up in the morning, I'm just like, it's on the counter. Oh, you know, like.
Yeah, but sleep honestly wouldn't have helped me. I chose wrong for sure. I should have went bigger.
It
And
would've
with
helped a
all
little
that, with all that quartering that I was doing, a small wing was honestly worse. I feel like with the big wing, I feel like I still could have bombed the bigger bumps, and I would have been just cruising quartering.
Recovering.
Yeah,
Probably.
and recovering, because like for 25 minutes, bro, I was trying my hardest to get up, even with all the boat weights, and I turned to my left, bro, I see Kane trying to get up, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, Kane's feeling my pain, dude.
Yeah.
Come on. And we're like just trying to get up in this whitewash, like just this washing machine. And I couldn't recover from it. Once I got up,
Yeah, that's
the burn in my lower back it just wouldn't go
You
away.
needed a gel, 5 minutes.
No, dude, I was whacking those things, bro.
Bro, that's the problem. Like once you gas out and you go down, you're expected to get back up. You need to like.
You need to rest.
I think it's
I
better
didn't
to
rest.
sit down
Yeah.
and just breathe because what I
I
did
was panicking, bro.
I was panicking. I was like, I need to get up, and I just kept trying, and I wasted 5 minutes trying to get up when I should have just sat down and breathed it out. You know, and
That's what I
get your
should have
energy
done.
back.
It's
And
hard
I
when
didn't.
you're in that mentality though. Like
Right.
you guys, especially who are racing, but me, who I'm not really racing, I'm just trying to complete the channel crossing. I'm still like, I gotta get back up. Like I can't just freaking sit here, you know? Like
you,
it's how I
passing you
feel
by.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was on a 5x30. No. Nice, perfect Kalama board. Dave nailed it for the
Yeah,
channel.
the
Having
man.
a big, longer board.
Yeah.
He knew. He knows. I rode a 990, so I was happy with my wing size. But yeah, like you said, there was a whole bunch of psychology going on because 3 months ago I was like, I got the best wing, bro. Like we're stoked, you know. And then racing season comes around, and then people got new prototypes. There's basically like 5 brands that came out with new stuff.
It's pretty cool,
So,
though.
It was cool. No, I love it.
Sick.
The sport's growing and it's pushing and it's innovating and it's all getting better. But all in all, I was super happy with my gear. Had a great run. Once I popped up, great run, made it all the way, and I didn't have any hiccups. So, what were you riding?
I was on the F1 1090, which I thought for me was a great choice on my Kalama 8.6 by 17 3/4. That new design from him.
Money.
Thing is a straight weapon.
Money.
Yeah, that guy, nobody puts as much into R&D of downwinding as Dave Kalama. So whether his boards are the best or not, obviously that's subjective. I think they are, but other people might not. But it's like, I want to support local guys who are doing that R&D, who are putting the time and effort in. Like, I mean, everybody who's not on one of his boards, their board's still probably inspired by one of his boards.
sure.
So I think we
Everyone
all
knows
do
that.
Every
knows that.
single
Yeah.
board out there.
It's
is
kinda like-
inspired.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Well said.
Yeah, and I just want to extra shout that guy out because, some of you guys are straight animals when it comes to foiling. I wouldn't consider myself an animal in foiling. He made it more approachable for someone at my level to come in and be able to do something like
He
that.
sped it up for
Yeah,
everyone.
for sure.
The
we
learning
made it
curve.
accessible for
Yeah.
everybody.
For sure. 100%.
On a 6-foot board, there's no way. Like, it's so hard for me to pop up. Like, I just can't do it.
It's kind of like when everyone comes for the pipe contest and they all get Tokoro boards, right?
Yeah.
Because like Wade
That's such a good
charges
analogy.
and he
Yeah.
surfs pipes.
Yeah.
So he knows
Exactly.
how to make a board for pipes.
Not
For
just
sure.
that, he inspired a lot of us to subfoil. I don't know about you guys, but he inspired me to get, and Aaron to get into sub because we went to the gorge and we were watching him and Alex Aguera downwind foiling
Yeah.
with the getting up in the bumps. So, yeah.
Yeah. Legend, for sure.
I was on a 7-1 Barracuda, Eric's old board.
Yes.
Actually,
Nice.
with a lift 150.
7-1.
Yeah.
Oh
That-
wow.
That was Andrew's board, right?
Yeah, it was
Two.
Andrew's. Yeah.
Oh.
It
That's
was
pretty-
from
Still
Eric.
flat water. Sorry,
That's pretty
yeah.
crazy how 7-1 like 6 months ago was so long,
Right. Yeah.
and then now that
Yeah.
seems pretty short. Yeah.
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 Oh wow.
But
Yeah.
solid board. Happy with the equipment.
You
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
a new one or what?
Yeah, I don't know. Eventually, probably. I'm kind
Of
of.
course he is.
No.
No,
it works
I
good,
don't
yeah.
like spending a lot of money on equipment, and
Don't get into foiling then.
Yeah.
Wrong sport.
I think I still have my first mast is still the mast I got from Simeon when I first started.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
From lift.
from Lift. Yeah, the clear coat's like peeling off, but
That was
I
like
don't know.
3 years
Lift.
ago.
Sponsor
Yeah,
this
someone
guy.
sponsor this guy.
Wow.
It's time.
so yeah, I mean, I had fun. It was a good race, and probably get something new next time.
So Mana, like, it's funny. It's not funny. I knew
It's not funny.
just chasing him. He's
Big
always
man.
been like really good in the bumps, you know.
For sure.
And then we all like. I mean, I kind of used to go axis, but like yeah, good luck on that stuff. And then now when we started seeing and hearing the whole bro axis is legit, I was like worried like bro, Mana's gonna be legit. You know? But yeah, so what were you riding?
I was riding. I went long on the board. I got a stock KT A2 because I felt like my 7.7 fell short. It was just crazy because months ago,
You're on like a
7.7 was-
6.0,
Yeah.
right?
No, but like you feel like 7.7 was like big.
Yeah.
But no, it was like kind of short, so I'm glad I went with A2. When I look at the conditions, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go through the headache of choosing a wing. I'm just gonna go big. So I went 1201, and I think that was a good choice. I slept pretty good that night. Not trying to worry about which wing I'm gonna take. To me, I just wanted to, because I've had that experience where if you're consistent, you will get, like if you do your own race, you're consistent and you fall the least amount possible, you'll place good.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was great. Well, like it's not crazy because we all know, but like when it's on and it's big, Mana's fast.
For sure.
You know, like
Yeah.
Mana
We've
got
all
fifth
seen
in the
that.
Voyager race.
For
and
sure.
I didn't fall.
Like it wasn't a shocker, but we were like, yeah, Mana took down some guys. You know? And
I
like,
reckon
we
if
all
Mana
knew,
had
you
a
know?
big board to flat water start and just pump out and use
Didn't
a
you
small
flat
wing.
water?
I did flat
He
water.
did flat
actually.
water.
No, but on a big
Well,
board and a small
you
wing,
flat
you
watered
probably
the
would have had a
Molokai
better race.
Yeah,
You kind of flat water.
I did. No, I did. I pumped.
Eventually you did, yeah.
But
I
you're on a
remember
huge
watching
wing,
you go
though,
though, I
that's
was
the
like,
thing.
oh man, he's burning a lot of energy and you like went up and then you went down.
Yeah, but then I popped up again, and I wasn't bad. I actually stopped purposely to not gas out.
Oh,
Then I
okay,
got
thought you
stuck
gassed
in
with
this
the wing.
freaking wake.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
We gotta fix that next
Wingers
year.
won't be with
I
us.
think they let
this
the
year.
guy go in too quick.
They win in
I mean,
10 seconds.
I feel
Yeah.
it's the same thing with the Molokai OC1 race, though. I mean, when they let the escort boats in, there's a ton of wake every
Yeah,
time.
'cause,
like
like,
I
it's-
don't know how
it's
if you
But
inevitable.
I think what happened this time is, well, our sport's different because it's way more sensitive.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
usually,
so
like
it's-
I remember the boat wake, and we at least we're in the bumps, so it was kind of like a mixture being in the bumps, where all this boat wake was in the gutless flat water. So it was just full mixed bag soup and
Yeah.
couldn't
just,
stand up.
you know. But like I said, it's a unique scenario
Yeah.
because if you're an escort boat driver and you see your winger take off at 30 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and you're like
Yeah.
paid to stay with that guy, you gotta stay with
That's
that
why
guy.
I
Well,
thought
I
they
think
should've started
even
them
with
in a
the
different
subs,
time.
like the escort boat drivers want to get to their paddlers so that they don't have to look for them. 'Cause, I mean,
Right.
that's the most stressful part of the
And
of
the most
being an escort boat
important.
driver.
Yeah.
The only way you can avoid your boat wake is if all the boats start further down the line.
Off on the side. more.
Yeah.
My recommendation
bumps.
is if they would wait for us maybe about
Mid- yeah.
3 miles into the channel,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they could see us coming, and then let all of us pass, and then fill in from behind.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you would do like a line, right? Or just pass a certain like buoys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like past a certain line.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
smart.
Well,
They
you
start just coming in.
I think
Yeah.
how long did they hold them this time? Do you think?
10 seconds.
Yeah.
It
I
seemed like
think
it was
it-
right
I
away.
think it's because the wingers. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
yeah,
have to
you
keep
gotta
up with
catch
them.
up to them. You can't.
But
and
they
then
can,
go.
can't
Those
they
guys are
run just
flying.
further south of them and cat?
It's hard.
In
I
the,
thought
in
that
the
was
heat of the
rules.
moment, when you're an escort
Yeah.
boat driver, your one responsibility is to get
Yes,
to the guy.
for
Right.
sure.
If the
Right.
guy's paying you a couple grand to do it, you
Yeah.
don't wanna.
Yeah.
Who did the race?
I'd
without
be
escort
fearing
boat?
out there by myself too.
Somebody did a race and the escort boat
You're
couldn't
not
find
supposed
them.
to, huh?
Mateo,
Bro,
right?
mine broke.
I heard
Momo.
about that.
Momo.
No.
Momo didn't have an escort for a while.
One of the wingers too. Yeah, I thought I heard.
The guy didn't
That's
find
sketchy.
him
I
for
wouldn't
like
want to be out
45
there in that
minutes.
channel without an escort.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, just one thing
Sketchy.
to go wrong and you're by yourself.
Does
Like,
it-
I was-
Yeah.
I was out there fishing today and I was looking at Molokai and I was like, damn, that is so far. Like, I cannot believe that we crossed that channel. It was like,
Something to be proud of.
Oh,
100%.
totally.
Lifetime achievement. You
For
know?
sure.
Putting my
Yeah.
medal in a freaking frame. Tell your kids.
you earned it, bro, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back
I
in the
got-
day,
I got a
Papa
question
Mama-
for everyone. What would you do differently next
Yeah,
time?
that's a good one.
I know. Let's go on a line, baby. This is gonna be good.
What would I do differently for next time? I don't know. I feel like I fell a lot of times. I fell 5 times in total, like 3 times in the channel and then 2 times just at the start.
Still came in third, though.
But
Well,
the reason I went with a small wing wasn't because of the conditions. It was because it's what I knew. I trained on that
Yeah.
small wing, so I didn't want to change anything up just
Yeah.
before the
It's
race,
a good call.
which was a good call. But at the same time, I wish I like tried every single wing I had. You know, what if it was like super north, and I couldn't have used that one small wing that I trained on?
Yeah.
1201.
Exactly. I never tried that, so
Yeah.
try more things and just be ready for everything.
I would have had the same exact foil I had, but 1,000 version. I think 1,000 would have been like the money foil for me and my weight. And then I would have brought my 8.0 paddleboard designed to life 2 months ago when I first thought of it. I think that like that would have been the most money board I could have made, but oh well.
Yeah, for me, I went with what I was most comfortable with too, and you also mentioned that just do what you're most comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to race on the small swing just to do the best I could do.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have a middle option, which sucks. So I either am on a 750 wing or I'm on a 1100. So it's kind of a big gap. But I would have way rather gone bigger. It would have been way less stressful. And I wouldn't have burnt myself out in the beginning. And then from being fatigued, I don't know about you guys, but I would make a lot of mistakes from being fatigued.
No, that's normal.
I fell like 4 or 5 times, and I fell at Hanama, like the worst spot. And I'm like in my head telling myself like, what is wrong with you? You've done this run so many times, like you got this, but I'm still making mistakes just from fatigue. So next time I'll be on a bigger wing, and I'll also be more dialed. I feel like a lot of us are changing up our equipment last minute, not just us, but I feel like a lot of the competitors and the pros were switching up their gear last minute. So
because of the conditions. I think.
And seeing competition from previous contests and everything.
They all saw Edo and were like, oh.
Yeah, watch out.
But I think we all could agree we have to work on our fitness. I think
Yeah,
that's a big one.
You inspire us, yeah. What the Chinese
me too.
steroids?
Everyone needs their fitness.
Practice
So
and
that's
finish.
yeah. My whole thing is, like I said, this year was great because of survival. Now we know what it takes, what our body can endure, what gear to use. Now we just need, like for those of us who want to do well and be competitive, now we can apply some sort of training and fitness, right? So whether that means, the one thing that I reflect and look back on is we downwinded a lot, right? So our downwinding was sharp, but 90% of the time we're just standing there, just
Turning and having fun.
So like my heart rate wasn't getting up. My fitness was like actually not like good or strong, so like I think next year, and like I tried, me and Edo, we tried to go like run hills. But I think next year I would definitely implement like prone surfing more and pumping, because before we all got into SUP, I just remember all of our cardio was psycho, like pumping, and then when we go in downwind, it was like, this is easy, you're not even breathing hard. So there's that pumping, or even I think especially for race specific conditions, race start, flat water starting and going for as long as you can. Like I probably should have started earlier, right? Like I was probably flat water starting maybe like 2 months ago, but now we have a whole year. So like depending on how serious you want to be, we should get super proficient at flat water starting, and then be able to pump and stay up and like learn how to be efficient, whether that's dialing in your gear or getting your fitness up. And coming from canoe paddling, we had to train because we would be out there for 4.5 hours, 5 hours sometimes. So you suffer all throughout the year training so that you don't suffer on race day. So now, knowing what we know, I think for those of us who do want to train and do want to do well, we should learn and put our heads together on how we can suffer. Because I think we all can downwind. We all downwind exceptionally well. Yeah. So it's just figuring out like what kind of things can we do to be like sickos. Like I think next year for race season, we start where the race finishes. We flat water start it inside the channel by the bridge, and pump all the way out and do our run.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be hard. That should be like easy, and we should be like in good shape to do.
Yeah, that should be easy because that's exactly what the race was.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
it was hard
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean with canoe paddling, right? You're doing weight room stuff. You're doing cardio, running
Every
hills,
sports.
like
Every sport.
And we got to start months
it's a
ahead too,
cross-training
not 2
thing,
months.
yeah.
You have to do conditioning for every sport.
Yeah.
It applies to every single
A lot of
sport.
people who I talked to said, "Oh man, I wish I trained harder. Like, I wish I started sooner."
But like I said,
no.
it was interesting because this is literally the first year where I think a lot of us were just happy to do it and make it and survive it. Where now that we've got that under our belt, now we can really push our bodies and see how fit we can get, you know. And I know, like, 2 minutes into the race, I was like, I'm not fit enough to do this right now, you know. Had to come down, and it was done. But for sure, we, you know, like, we'll all be in better condition. We'll be flat watering for another year. Gear will get better, and our fitness is gonna be better. Like I said, I don't think any of us needs to sharpen up our downwinding. You know,
I
you
think
can
that
do
would
it
be
to stay
good,
sharp,
yeah.
but like, you know, we've enthusiastically been doing this for 3+ years, and to me, like, that's what was exciting, because, like, you know, like, we all knew Andrew, Edo, and Kane and those guys would, like, you know, like, not disrespectfully, but throw some punches at, like, at Kai
Pros.
and the pros, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because while those guys are busy, you know, surfing big waves, winging, kiting, doing traveling, all this and that, like, we've been doing Kaiko's runs.
Yeah.
You know, for the last 3-4 years, we've been doing Hawaii Kai runs, 80s runs. We've been learning and just pushing each other. So it's like we've had like a very, like, we've put in. I feel like we've all put in about, like, you know, not 10,000 hours, but, like, you know, like a 10,000 hour effort. Where we've caught up, and now we can, like, spar with these guys, you know, where it's like, you know, like, of course, like Jesse was saying earlier, like in 2018 or 2019 when they ran it, it's like it wasn't even accessible to us. Like, I didn't even know where to get a look. Yeah, like it was like a prodigy only race. You know, like the Dave Kalama, Kai Lenny, and like
all these guys
can't even get
experience
their gear.
already from the channel, from other sports,
Right.
though.
All the guys crossing the channel that year were ex-sup guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a random average
But it's
Joe.
still a yeah, like they were, none of them were average Joes just foiling. They were the best of the best.
Top. Yeah.
And they were like actually professional watermen
Mhm.
that could be like, hey Alex, make me a foil.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't even know who Alex was. None of us knew who Alex was.
I was in 8th grade. I don't even
Yeah.
think I foiled.
So it's cool. I think, yeah, we'll definitely have a better sense of what to expect for next year. Although next year potentially could be finishing somewhere else. So
Please.
Even better for us. That's on our home turf.
yeah.
I'm down to push the buoy out too, so it's not so close to that.
Yeah.
If you finish,
That'd be good.
did you see when the buoy broke loose? Like,
Yeah,
maybe
that was
30
the
minutes
gods
before the
trying to tell us, move it out.
That's what God,
Get
yeah.
it back.
What about you?
For me, honestly, I thought I was in really good shape. I felt like I had done all the training and the hard work. I think Pailolo kind of threw me off a little because we did it, and I felt after that run, I was like, we just downed 28 miles. Like, I can do 28 miles. You know, like, yeah, I know, it's totally different. So, but for me, I think the thing I didn't take seriously because I felt so good doing Pailolo was crapping. And so next time, I've been told, like, I should have been taking salt tablets like about a month out, starting to give my body the right nutrients. I should have had something like some immediate thing I could take on the boat. I had nothing. Like, I literally started cramping and I was like, all I have is water. And I thought I hydrated enough. I took electrolytes. I had everything I thought I needed, but I was wrong. So that totally hindered my race. So next time I want to make sure I have a solution for that.
It's difficult because
Yeah.
we're going so fast that even if you needed to change out a water pack or get some nutrition,
Yeah.
like, are you willing to sacrifice coming down for it? Like,
Well, I had to
would.
come down.
You know?
For me, it wasn't a choice. Like,
Yeah.
my leg locked up so much, like, I came down. There wasn't, like, you could ride through it. So that was one thing. And the other thing I realized with the quartering is I think we need to do more North Shore runs, which I've never even done one, like a full proper one with you guys. But I think that's where we can learn how to do that kind of quartering into that angle. At least for me, as a goofy footer, that backside feeling.
There's not that much quartering doing North Shore.
No, North.
Yeah,
If
it's
anything,
pretty
Hawaii Chiron's more like.
But see, for me, Hawaii Kai is going out.
after
Like, I'm
Black
going
Mountain.
out.
Just go
Maybe
out
on
and
North
make sure
Shore.
you go back like 50 yards from Black
I know,
Mountain.
but we need the long
buoy line every
Yeah,
time.
that's the line. That's
That's
a
the
quarter
one.
line.
You know what
That's a
the
tough
Yeah, I don't
one
know.
you told me was Rabbit Island to Kailua.
That would probably be a good one.
That's the
That's the other. You gotta have specific wins for that, right?
no,
No,
just
you
any
do
trade
normal
winds,
trades.
and that represents the channel.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You
Where
kind of
Rabbit
need to get a little
was-
bit further outside
There
though.
was this guy, Carell Jr. He's like the goat of canoe paddling.
Oh.
He's won the channel 7 times. I think he won when he was 18, and he was beating grown men. And that's what's cool about our kind of downwind sports. Is you don't need to be the biggest, strongest, or the most talented, but if you dedicate yourself and you learn how to decipher the water, like that's everything.
Yeah.
Like to me, like that was cool.
I thought it was really cool too to see Castle Fody out there. Jim
Bro.
Fody. So I mean
Castle.
that's the next generation. Like
On his birthday too.
yeah, Jim Fody, you know, was the
He was like
godfather
something-
of canoe paddling
Mhm.
in the 90s, right? And won the channel how many times?
Mhm.
Him and his brother, and now Castle's taking up foiling. Like
Yeah.
He got
It's
a
so
sup
cool.
board like a week before the race.
Yeah.
He
No,
was just
that's
like, I'm gonna do it. And
Legend.
his first day of taking the demo. He was flat. He's like, "Yeah, flat water started the board a few times today." I'm like, "What?
he's so
what?"
humble too, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a super good kid, you know.
Nice,
And
yeah.
Jim is the man, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, going back to Corel, his MO is he would only train in that Rabbit Island to Kailua, and like that's what he just did. He just did laps and would be out there for 2-3 hours at a time. And so when it came to the channel, he would just wreck everybody. Like it was like so dominant that he would beat people by a mile in the channel, and like it's at some point like when you get to a level, you're not missing bumps, but what's like the most helpless and the most like defeating feeling is when you're not making mistakes and you look over at somebody like Corel
And they're just
and
not
they're
paddling.
just gaining, and you're like, what is he seeing that I'm not seeing? And it's just, you know, like there's people who have like such a high understanding of like the connection and the flow of the bumps, right? And what any of us can achieve that, it's just how much time you want to put in, right?
What about you, Nick?
I think
Improving.
what I would do next, or differently next time, is sticking with the pack during the race and maybe on that little bit more southerly line. Definitely a little bit more fitness, but I tried to kind of incorporate that into my training this time around. But
You do Mountain and Molokai next year?
I think I would do that. I want to do Hood River.
Hood
I want to
River.
do that trip with everybody next year.
You
I don't know, I had a great time.
Ironically, the Hood River is the worst place to train ever.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like trying to train.
It's too fun.
It's like trying to train for a surf contest at Kelly Slater's wave pool.
Yeah.
It's like
It just looked like you guys had such a great time, and like really, that's what
That's what
kind of
whole
the sport
is,
and
yeah.
like was about, right? That's why we're all friends, and that's what brings us all together. And you know,
It was
I
nice
kind
this
of
year.
miss with canoe paddling and OC6 paddling is that camaraderie that you get with your crew,
Mhm.
and with sup foiling, it's an individual sport. So yeah, you're loading all loading up into the back of a truck and going up and doing runs, but you're not like riding the same bump like the way you can at Hood River.
But that was nuts this year. Like every time we'll go up, there's a group of guys was coming down. Every time. Like,
oh, it went from being like 10 guys at the hatch like to 50 guys
non-stop.
from
It's
all around
crazy.
the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
Non-stop.
be huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good trip with everyone, and
Yeah.
yeah, the camaraderie and just us memories that we're gonna remember for a while. It was sick.
And as far as
Missed out.
equipment, probably a bigger board.
Bigger board, yeah.
Just peace of mind when it comes to getting back up.
I think that's key.
What's your honor?
Me this
More
year?
at 45.
More 45. Hey, I think it helped though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, for me this year was kind of different. Like you guys knew that you guys could finish long runs, like 20 plus miles. I wasn't even sure I could do that. So coming into this race season, it was focusing on finishing long runs. That's why I did Maui to Molokai. And then once I realized I could do it, because before that,
You had a
I
big
don't think-
shocker on the North Shore at one time.
North Shore shocker, Hood River shocker, it's like shocker life.
A lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. So I was focusing on finishing, and I did Maui to Molokai. And I was like, wow, I can actually do 27 miles and be okay.
On
I
a
felt good after
wobbly
the race.
wing, bro.
Oh yeah, my wing was loose too. Yeah, that's how Jesse beat me. Yeah, and then Molokai to Oahu was just more like a challenge for me. I was just more like Jesse, just trying to finish it and see if I
Yeah.
could actually do 32 miles.
Yeah.
What's reassuring me is like I used to have a big problem with cramps, but it seems like everybody started cramping in the same spot I was. So it's like, I guess I'm not.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I'm not the only one having that problem. So yeah, coming to next year, like I'm glad I know what the channel looks like,
Yeah.
what to expect a little more,
Yeah.
and then fitness wise for sure, and then hydration. Although I think I was pretty hydrated, I started looking into it. It might be more like a muscle fatigue kind of deal,
Yeah.
the cramps, and instead of hydration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like because you're so much on your back leg
Yeah.
that the muscle is so fatigued that your nervous system is actually taking over
Yeah.
instead of
telling you to
Yeah.
stop, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
my
as a
dad had a
protection
good point.
mechanism.
He was thinking, because initially I thought, am I cramping because I'm not hydrated, even though I felt like I was so hydrated.
Yeah.
But he's like, if you're not used to doing that angle into the wind, that's probably going to use totally different parts of your muscle that they haven't been trained yet, So I think it probably was muscle fatigue.
Endurolites help a lot with cramping.
Did everyone?
You can just
See, I didn't have anything.
I know.
I
yeah.
didn't
Did every
cramp.
single one of us cramp?
I didn't cramp.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I just more not cramp. Like my lower back was just tight.
Right. Bro, you know what I did?
I
I
think
would
crampers
get on
that
the
took a
bump.
gel right away.
And
You think
massage.
that's why?
Nah, just kidding.
You
No.
just squat down as far as you can, and then you're
Stretch.
yeah, and
I was
you're
doing
like
all
on the
kinds of
bump,
weird
and you're
shit.
like I'm squatting down.
I couldn't even make it.
But doesn't that burn your
I
leg
can't
doing that?
I get
No,
it.
you
falling.
just sit on your knees basically, so the quad stretching, bro.
Papa squat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just out here just stretching.
I know I was gonna
this
bring a
when
chair.
you're-
All right, guys. Papa squat
Next
next time when you're doing the race.
All right,
And
the
do this without
last,
falling.
I guess,
Yeah.
one last question. What advice would you give somebody who wants to do this race?
Don't
Right.
do it.
No, it's
Start now.
totally doable.
Put in the time now, bro.
Start
Yeah.
now. Like for
Don't
our
give
good
up.
friend who's actually been downwinding a lot longer than some of us here, Aaron Evelyn.
He's starting now.
He's starting now. You gotta start now.
I mean, that guy could do it right now if he wanted to.
Yeah, 100%.
But he just heard everyone's stories coming in, and he's like, I'm gonna train and get ready. And it's just cool that the best part about foiling is we constantly are making goals and just growing in the sport, and that's what I love about it.
And don't get the fastest swing, just get the one that will take you there.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to like be fast and everything, you're better off just making it, like just
Yeah,
crossing the
making it.
channel, not trying to win. 'Cause
Sprinters don't win the Tour de France.
that's what I learned. Yeah.
That's a quote.
I'll say, super big props and hats off to James Casey. Even though like a bunch of us, like we did want to protect Hawaiian waters, and Voyager was like, yeah, let's get one. But one cool thing that you gotta like admire is, a while back I was having a conversation with Kyle Maligro, and we were chatting on the phone about how maybe frustrated we were that, two things about that downwinders and foilers in Hawaii don't get the respect, recognition, and love that we all think that we deserve. Because like for us, for me personally, I think downwinding is one of the apex of the foil sports. Because anyone who prones is eventually going to want to go on a Kaiko's run. Anyone who wings is eventually going to want to downwind without the wing. So, but it's like such a new, young, difficult sport that maybe to like these big manufacturers and these companies, it's not worthwhile for them because they're making money in Europe with kiting and winging.
Or even landlocked spots, right?
Landlocked
With just
spots.
E-foiling,
Just pumping, right?
Yeah.
E-foiling, right?
Yeah.
And so like for us, it's like, we're at the top of the food chain. I feel like we're the most humbly, but like the most skilled and talented foilers are out there, and we don't get the love and respect and recognition that we deserve. So I was talking with Kyle Maligro, and he was saying, like there was a movement back in like the 80s or the 90s or wherever, where a whole bunch of the street skateboarders were feeling the same way. And then they weren't getting the love, right? They were just getting used. And then suddenly they broke off and started making their own companies, right? So that's when I don't know. I mean, I don't know the story directly, but Rob Deerdeck and DC, right? And so you had a skateboarder now making a skateboard company and has all the insights, right? So what's cool about James and those guys is they're foilers, like the Tarju brothers, super
Yeah,
cool guys.
they're awesome.
And
Awesome
they all kill it down
They all
there.
kill it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dave Kalama and making downwind boards.
Yeah, they've been
Right.
doing it for a long time too.
Right, so they just have a deeper love, passion, and connection for it. Whereas, maybe their first and initial objective is to make something great rather than to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, so hats off to these guys, right? I mean, we heard about all the risks about what it took for them to
they put everything into
put
it.
all their money into it and,
Yeah.
and make a foil, and it's just we're just stoked for that. Like for any of us, right? If we had the time, energy, and resources, I would love to make foils. And stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's cool and important to root for stories like that, and especially because these guys are downwinders.
Yeah.
Because realistically, Lyft is an e-foil company that makes great wings. I guess like Armstrong and these other companies were winging and kiting companies, and then we're actually having a cool chat with Oscar on Maui, and they were saying that pump foiling and dock starting and wake foiling is actually a ginormous sector of revenue for these foil companies, right? So it's funny because I feel like all those guys around the world, they look at us as the guys who are climbing Mount Everest, we're the extreme athletes, and so they get entertainment from it, but it's the foil companies don't see the value in us, so.
Because I don't think, from an outside perspective, sometimes they don't realize how hard it is actually, and what we went through.
Yeah.
Now it's getting more and more popular because people are trying to get into it, and everybody's posting their feedback of, oh,
Right.
damn, I just have a shocker and it's harder. It's the hardest thing I ever done.
It's super relatable, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's.
And
that's
then
what people-
now the company was the big companies are maybe you start looking into that.
Yeah, that lit a fire. Yeah, props to Oscar, man. You did good. And you had
He's been killing
you
it
guys
too.
killed it, bro.
These guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to your question and kind of bring it all home. I think my advice would be be prepared to eat humble pie, and don't be afraid to put in the time. There's no shortcut in foiling. If you want to downwind foil, you got to put in the hours. Unless you're a pro surfer and a freak, only a couple handful of guys in the world, you're probably going to have to put in serious hours of struggling, pain, but embrace it. Do it every time. Maybe you'll take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but eventually you'll take those 2 steps forward and it'll keep pushing you to the next and the next. So
Enjoy the suffering.
yeah.
But it's absolutely worth it.
Totally.
Get out of your comfort zone in
Yeah.
training, right?
Yeah.
Do the flat water stuff. Go practice pumping into the wind. Even
Oh, that
paddling,
sounds
right?
terrible.
I feel like we're not really making it
Focus on your fitness.
Oh,
We
I'm
wanna
just saying
push
for
away
foiling
people
in
from
general.
doing this,
yeah.
but I think anyone can do it, and
Yeah.
even though there's a lot of time and hours you have to put into it, it's still fun to do it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
It's rewarding.
For
And,
sure.
and
Super
don't get
rewarding.
discouraged. Start slow. Start in the harbor, just learning technique of paddling. Then go into the surf, and then go and try and do the downwinding.
Yeah.
So you
And
know
have-
who's doing that right now? Actually, Egan is putting the time.
Really,
right
I've
now.
actually saw him on the
Egan,
sub.
yeah.
So look at Egan right now, and he's actually putting in the time.
He's
I
actually,
shouldn't get it.
I've been we've been all following him for years, and he definitely has the black belt mindset, and he's
Oh,
like
and he knows.
we just
yeah.
know he's gonna do it, So it's
So
it
disciplined.
just takes time,
Yeah.
When
And I
He's
know
doing it right
that
now.
we all did the same thing. We all were there and struggled and freaking
And never give up.
yeah.
And then also, I think another thing too is hopefully you have a friend that will help you along the way. But if not, we're all here on Oahu, or you can reach out to us on Instagram. And I don't know why, but it's it's not so like other sports where you're hiding secrets. You kind of you like to help people.
Yeah.
You want people to be doing it with you. You want more
It's
people
more
in the
fun
water.
with more people.
Yeah.
Well, we have so much. Our playing field is so wide that it
Yeah,
doesn't matter
matter.
how big we are, how
Yeah.
many people we have, and that's awesome.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up
Wrap it
then.
up. Yeah.
Sick. All right. Well, yeah, cool little race debrief. We'll see how this year goes. Right now, I don't think any of us are focused on training or racing. We'll just
No.
get back-
Absolutely not.
Pros
We gotta
get
get
back,
served.
get back to having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out some new runs and some new places. Jack and I, we might go to France in
Yeah.
October. I still I still got to go to the gorge. I was thinking about maybe strike fishing, going to Kauai and Napali.
Yes.
Jamie,
Oh, for that.
and those guys, they want us to come over, and I think it'd be cool. another island that's untapped is Big Island.
Yeah.
And there's guys over there actually. It's just I don't think they have subboards over there or good ones yet. But it's cool and exciting, you know. San Fran, remember you said that?
There you
guy's
go,
video?
yeah. He's
Or look proper.
Friends in the Bay, yeah.
Look proper, you know. And it was like, whoa.
Right next to some great whites and some
man.
visitors swimming out of Alcatraz.
Watch out for the sharks.
Yeah.
I saw
15, 20-foot great whites.
I saw that that shark that Nick saw on Fox News, and the one that Edo saw.
Yeah.
Shark. Yeah, it was wild. I think it was giant.
So many new places. We gotta go crossing to Tahiti too.
Yes.
Tahiti. Yeah. All over.
Actually, their communities, they were way in before us. But
Yeah.
They just never advertised it.
Yeah.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
For
They
sure.
started down low a little bit more than us.
For sure.
It's funny because like looking back, like we just didn't know because we weren't like I wasn't educated or up to scene because like you know I always thought like hey we were the first ones downwind and then like, you look at like you know like
Yeah.
Dave Kalama and those guys like Tahitian they were doing it like 2016.
Yeah.
But the
Before
one-
we even foiled.
Yeah, but the one thing that I do think that what's cool about the Voyagers and the Voyager foilers is I think we might have been the first group of people to use a wave to chip out because everyone was either going off a jet ski
Yeah.
or they were SUP
Yeah,
bound.
true that.
So that was unique in itself, and then also I think like we had a unique like sense of community. Whereas if like those guys were foiling for years, but they would like just it would be just like Dave and Kai or just like they just go together, and like there was no explosion. Like you know those times were special. You know it's just everyone's stoked. We had the explosion, and you know like even this year like, you know like Maui to Molokai we had 40-50 participants last year. We had 7.
No? Yeah.
I think we were like trying to egg on like, let's go Mana, you got this, but like he wasn't ready. But we were trying to like pump you up, you know.
I never had the board. I knew it.
Yeah, but like it's cool, and it's just exciting to see the growth.
For sure.
Yeah.
I remember a time we would just show up to Tongs and you'll get right up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just like not even need to text the group.
Mhm.
Just show up to Tongs and then somebody will be there and you go on a windy day.
And it was cool to see like all the Aussies and the Tahitians and all the visitors here get to kind of like we're so callous to it maybe now that you know like I don't want to be at times you know like you know we went up to China Walls or something or whatever, but like you know like those guys are firsthand seeing like what it's like they were like it was like it is a nostalgic thing you know like
Yeah.
driving and coming to that Tongs access and that street and you see foilers on the left on the lawn and you see you're looking for people walking down the access and like it's you know it's
Good times for
it's
sure.
good times you know sick all right
All right.
All right.
But
good chat all right